Am I the arsehole for humiliating my mother-in-law at a family meal? Story time. So I've never really got on with my mother-in-law for the entirety of mine and Steve's relationship. Over the years, she has just said a lot of very, very childish and cruel things about me. Recently, I've just become exhausted with this woman. We've recently moved towns, I've got a different job, we've recently got married, and we're also looking to buy a house. So my mind has been taken up by lots of different things. So just for some context on what this woman is like, in the past few years, she has taken to ignoring me, both messages and in social settings. And then when we are in social settings, she will just talk right over the top of me. This is giving Phantom of the Opera. She just really enjoys pretending that I don't exist. So as a result, I've just mentally checked out the situation. And through ruining her relationship with me, she's also ruined her relationship with my partner as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I support whatever relationship my Steve wants to have with his mum, but I'm done trying to be this woman's friend. So recently we were at a dinner party and my mother-in-law starts asking when we're gonna have kids. And when I say asking, I kind of mean more like interrogating. She's going over and over again about how she can't wait to have grandchildren and she's going to be such a great grandma. And this is something that she has not shut up about lately. Anytime we see her, it's like, when are the grandchildren coming? When are you going to get pregnant? La la la. And it's getting on my nerves, quite frankly. Now, don't get me wrong, my partner has asked her to stop several times, but she just keeps going. At a certain point in the night, I'd had a little bit too much wine and it really started to get to my head. And I snapped. That's the best word for it. I turned to this woman. I was like, what do you want to know about our private life, Sandra? I'll tell you. Do you want to know what kind of birth control I'm on? Do you want to know what time of day we're doing it? Do you want to know where we're doing it? I was like, do you want me to let you know what my ovulation tests are saying? I list them all. I went into using inappropriate language, crude language. I was being vulgar. I was giving detail. At one point, I even said to her, Sandra, have you actually got any tips for me? Or actually, Sandra, why don't you just come and watch? Make sure we're doing it right. Then she started crying and screaming at me and asking Steve why she's letting her partner speak to her like that. Me and Steve got up after this and left because there ain't no way I was sitting and divulging that conversation any longer. The next day, his aunties call and they're like, listen, she was a little bit out of order, took it a bit too far. We think she should apologise. Now, I don't think I should, but you please let me know if you think I should. I also just wanted to add that I'm actually infertile and I know this, but I would never ever tell her that to give her that as a weapon that she could use against me. So what do you think? Am I the arsehole? My husband used my house savings to buy a yacht. Story time. I am a nurse and I've been married to my husband Steve for coming up 2 years now. Recently we bought a very small house for quite a decent price actually, but it needed a lot of work doing. Going far as to say it's in bad shape would be the biggest understatement. It is in the worst shape. At the moment, I'm currently saving up for the bathroom renovation. The bathroom is a mess and so far I've managed to save up like 2,500 quid. Steve doesn't earn as much as I do, so he chips in a little bit every month. And when I say a little bit, I mean like 20 quid. So now on to the issue. He asked me if he could use some of our bathroom renovation money for, wait for it, his friend's welcome home party. I was like, listen hon, it's kind of an urgent situation here, so no, that bathroom money is fixed, you won't be getting any of it. And he said that he understood. But yesterday I was going through our emails and found out that Steve has rented a yacht for the day as part of our friend's welcome home party, and it cost him £2,000. I confronted Steve about this and he says that it's the joint account, which means that it's also part of his money and he can do what he wants with it. But bearing in mind that Steve actually hadn't put any money into that joint savings account for a very, very long time, and all of the money in it at this moment in time was mine. So what do you think?
My daughter turned into a horrible person and I don't know why. Don't get me wrong, I love her. She's my flesh and blood. I cannot stand being around her. She's trashy, political opinions on Facebook. Those, my wife is born in December and is crazy, do not mess with her or you'll find my body. Shirt spot for her boyfriend. Does not care if she looks bad or stinks in public. I'm not saying you have to be dressed to the nines to go to the grocery store, or even that you shouldn't wear pajamas. I mean visible stains, greasy hair, to go out to eat or clothes shopping. Claims she is country and redneck. We raised her in a small town, but it isn't a rural one. Not that it would make a difference or that rural living is bad, just that she's not country or redneck. I went to visit her the other week. She lives a state away. Her house is filthy and doesn't look nice. She has the money to live a nice life and she chooses to live in squalor. This is not the girl that I raised, and me and my husband cannot stand being around her, and it breaks my heart. She's not pleasant to talk to anymore. I'm sure some will ask if she's doing okay mentally. I've asked, and she says yes. I don't know why she changed this way. Her husband was redneck, but not trashy and disrespectful like this when we met. They've both given up, and I'm not sure why. I wish I could like my daughter, but I can't. I don't want to invite her for holidays. She smells like cigarettes and BO. I don't know what to do. Am I in the wrong for kicking out my sister-in-law for spreading true rumors about my marriage? I'm male 32 and my sister-in-law, female 18, is living with my wife, female 27, and I while she attends university. She has a partial scholarship and we let her live here so that her family can save money. My wife was injured severely in a fall while hiking 2 years ago. Unfortunately, she lost all use of her limbs. I love my wife very much and I will never divorce her. We have 2 very young kids that need us both. Also, my work provides us with medical insurance, which obviously is very important to us. The crux of the matter comes down to intercourse. My wife cannot have intercourse. Not any kind. There are medical reasons. No, I won't get into that. About 1 year after her accident, my wife was feeling very down. She was in a very dark place. She thought I was going to leave her and go be with someone else. I didn't have anyone else on the side. I also had no time. I was working, taking care of 2 kids, and assisting in her care. I literally had no time to do anything like that. Anyway, it led to a fight that led to me admitting that I still had physical needs that weren't being met by my quick wank in the shower. Before you ask, yes, we're both in therapy. This has been a situation that neither of us imagined when we met. Long story short, my wife finds me a woman that I sleep with and have zero emotional attachment to. I don't go looking for women and I don't tell my wife what to do. When she decides that I need it, she makes an arrangement. It's not perfect. It's not what I want. I want my wife to be healthy again. I want to hold her. I want to be with her. But that's never going to happen. It was a private decision that we made together. And as far as I'm concerned, it should have stayed private. My sister-in-law moved in with us in September to start university. She helps out around the house and with the kids. In return, she lives in our basement suite and I give her some spending money. She doesn't work hours a day or anything. She might watch the kids while I make dinner or she'll work in my wife's garden. One of the nights that I was going out as arranged, my sister-in-law was supposed to watch the kids. Instead, she got one of her friends to watch them and she followed me. She saw me go meet a woman and go up to a hotel room. She took pictures. Rather than talk to her sister about it, she decided to wait until Christmas when we had our family dinner to confront me with evidence in front of everyone. I was pissed. My wife was furious and embarrassed. My in-laws were getting ready to kick my ass until my wife spoke up and explained everything. Nobody was really okay with it, but it wasn't what they thought. But now, everyone knows something that's very private about us and that we didn't want publicized. I talked to my wife about it and her sister is no longer welcome to live with us. She's having to commute from her parents' home almost 2 hours each way. Tough shit. She could have talked to us about it. She could have confronted me. She could have talked to her sister. Instead, she chose to be a hero and tell everyone something that was never meant to be public. She's begging us to come back because now she has no social life because she's traveling 3 to 4 hours a day. Her parents are offering to rent the basement, but we don't want her here. So, am I in the wrong?
Am I wrong for telling my wife that she does need to knock on my separate bedroom door before she enters? About a year ago, my 44 male wife, 38 female, suggested us getting separate bedrooms. She had trouble sleeping and it would allow us to have our own privacy. I was initially not a big fan of the idea because I thought it would affect our relationship and our connection. But after talking about it for a few months, I reluctantly agreed. She also suggested we should respect each other's privacy by knocking on each other's door before entering. So for about a year now, we've had our own bedrooms and to my surprise, I've been enjoying it a lot. We still sleep together a few times a week, but do spend the majority of the night separate. I have really enjoyed the privacy and having the opportunity to unwind by myself without worrying about anything else. But my wife, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be enjoying it as much. She's actually started spending more nights with me in my bedroom, which is fine, but now she's acting like we don't have any agreements at all. Am I wrong for telling my wife that she needs to knock on my separate bedroom door before entering? But my wife, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be enjoying it as much. She started spending more nights with me in my bedroom, which is totally fine, but now she's acting like we don't have agreements at all. At first, she was very adamant about knocking on each other's door before entering each other's rooms, and would frequently call me out if I didn't. But now she's starting to act like my separate bedroom is her bedroom and doesn't knock before entering. And when I call her out, she gets very emotional and very angry with me. She told me that I didn't care about her and I don't want her around anymore. She also said it hurts her feelings. But I just referred to all the rules that she made up and she's gotten really upset. I think that for some people, the separation makes the heart grow fonder, and she's just really missing him. I do think there should be some type of compromise. I don't think she anticipated that he would like it so freaking much, and that's bothering her.
Am I in the wrong for breaking up with my girlfriend over her younger sister? I broke up with my girlfriend, 27 female, 5 days ago due to her sister, 24 female's behavior. Me and my ex have been dating for 2 years. During this time, her sister has come on to me multiple times. I'm not completely sure about the amount of times, but it was almost every time I saw her. I've told the sister multiple times to leave me alone and to stop the behavior, as I don't do the cheating thing, but that did nothing. I have spoken to my ex about it multiple times. She even caught her sister in the act of trying to lock me in a room with herself. Nothing changed. I have spoken to their parents about it and that the behavior of the youngest daughter is unacceptable, and again, nothing happened. I'm not going to lie and say the sister was ugly. No, she's actually really beautiful, but I'm 100% sure that I haven't let her on or anything. Even when I greeted her, I gave her a side hug every single time. I have never been in a room alone with her or anything. I just kept my distance from her at all costs. I don't have her on Insta, Facebook, I don't even have her cell phone number. We've never shared a text or phone call. Her family even gave me a stupid nickname, the puppy, because I follow my girlfriend around everywhere. The only reason I follow her is because her sister's behavior seems to stop when she's around. I've told her that I'll stop going over to her parents' house because that's where the problems are and I don't want to be part of it. She didn't like the idea and sulked around the house for weeks because I didn't want to go with her. No point in time did I tell her that she can't go, just that I wasn't going to go with her. I relented 5 days ago and went over. We had too much to drink and slept over at the parents' house that night. The morning I woke up to the sister completely naked in bed next to me. I stormed out of the room and down to the kitchen and told her that we're done in front of the parents. She was silent for what seemed like minutes and started to break down asking why. All I said was go look in that room, and I stormed out of the house and got in my car. It took less than 2 minutes, then the calls started to come in, not just from her, but her parents as well. I didn't answer any of the calls. When I got home 40 minutes later, I had 108 missed calls from her and her parents and 36 messages. The messages from her parents just apologized to me saying they thought I was joking about the sister every time I brought it up and they didn't believe me. All I got from my ex was how sorry she was and that she'll handle it and it'll never happen again. I shouldn't leave. We can work through this. However, I'm just done. She's even gotten my family involved and our friends. 90% of everyone is on her side saying that I'm overreacting and that I'm the a-hole for dumping her. We can sort this out. I sent her a message saying that she has until Sunday to get her things out of my house. I'm just done. Surprisingly, she's not sugarcoated anything and explained everything correctly to everyone, but I'm still in the wrong for leaving her. Her parents in their messages are angry at me for hurting their daughter. My family is angry because they love her. Our friends are angry because I refuse to take her back and saying I'm overreacting. Am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for divorcing my wife after she terminated the pregnancy? I'm 27 male and my wife's 27 female, have been together for 4.5 years and married for 2. We've discussed kids before marriage and both agreed that we wanted kids. A couple weeks after we got married, we started trying for a baby and she got pregnant, but was having doubts about kids at the time. We discussed it a bit and she said that she didn't feel ready yet. I didn't push back and let her make the decision since she's the one who's pregnant. 3 weeks ago, she got pregnant again. I was excited, but she still wasn't sure. She said she wanted to wait a little longer, and I tried asking her for a timeline, but she just said that when she feels ready, she'd let me know. I asked her if she still wants kids at all, and she gave me a non-answer where she just said she doesn't know if she wants kids anymore, and wouldn't elaborate. I didn't want to pressure her to do anything, but I told her that I want to have kids and that I need to rethink our relationship if this is the route that she wants to go. She terminated the pregnancy and I started divorce proceedings a few weeks later. Some of our mutuals are saying that I was wrong to separate because of this, and she's called me a few times sobbing. I really want to be with her, but having kids and starting a family is really important to me, and it feels like she's been too unsure and unclear with what she wants and has been stringing me along in the process. So, am I in the wrong?
Am I wrong for wearing my wedding dress to someone else's wedding? I, 20 female, married my husband 2 years ago. We aren't rich and don't care that much about weddings, so I wore my prom dress to my wedding. It's not a super fancy dress or anything. It's basically a long sequin dress in deep dark blue with one sleeve. My friend Sierra, 22 female, was attending my wedding. Since the wedding, I wore it on a few occasions because it's basically the only one fancy dress I own. Recently, Sierra was getting married and I was obviously invited. The wedding color scheme was dark blue and she requested fancy attire, so I thought my dark blue dress would be fine. It's not white and it's not even remotely close to a wedding dress. I also didn't feel like wasting money on another fancy dress that I wouldn't ever wear again, especially since we aren't rich. So I showed up at her wedding in my dark blue sequin dress. It wasn't standing out or anything. Most of the guests were even wearing more fancier dress. However, when Sierra saw me, she lost it. She yelled at me in front of all of the guests, in front of her husband and my husband, saying what we did was horrible and that no one shows up at a wedding in a wedding dress. I tried to reason with her, saying that the dress isn't a wedding dress, it's the only fancy piece of clothing I own. She didn't listen to me and kept yelling at me to the point her bridesmaids and her husband started trying to calm her down. She also said a bunch of unsavory names to me. I was very upset with the drama and decided to leave with my husband. Then I started getting texts from Sierra, who blamed me for upstaging her on her wedding day, for driving a wedge between her and her husband since he said that she overreacted massively and upset her friend over a dress. I decided to ignore them because I think she's being unreasonable, but a part of me thinks that I was an asshole because I wore the dress to my own wedding.